And- Okay. We're gonna go- Let's be the system. Well, you'll know if it needs to heat up. It says, I looked online, it says it could take a half an hour to heat up and blah, 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 but.
That seems inefficient.
Seems faulty to me. Look at that. Yeah, this is like, it's what everybody's using, it's supposed to be the best. Yeah, we use that at the end and then, yeah.
Okay, I'm good to go.
All right, so we'll call the Portage Township meeting to order. What is it?
503.
At 5:03 on March 19th, 2024. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Any discussions?
You want to vote to approve the agenda first,
Oh, I forgot about that.
sorry.
Roll call.
Well, roll call is good, I'll take it, but
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second,
got it?
Roll call.
Ryan Hill.
Okay, minutes,
Okay, now we'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Actually, come to think of it, I was looking at the other stuff. I didn't, but give me just a moment. Wait, where are the minutes? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I missed this email that had a whole bunch of resolutions I didn't see.
that's why you didn't get the travel policy. I was like, I'm pretty sure, I knew it was a lot. Well, I didn't add it to the follow-up email, it was on the previous one.
Let me see. Okay, yeah, second the motion to approve minutes.
Minutes are approved.
Public comment, none,
Public comment.
new business, okay, this is the reason for our meeting, technically, why it was called, resolution withdraw from Southwest Central Fire Territory, pretty straightforward. This is just making it it official, and Pete Augustino, had a hand in drafting this.
And so this still, I mean, we're gonna withdraw anyway, but this still doesn't go into effect until,
Correct. Yeah, that's a great question. December 31st.
Right.
As of just January 1st, we will no longer be with the Southwest Central Fire Territory. And it will no longer cease to exist.
It will cease to exist.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it will cease to exist. It will no longer exist.
There you go. So if we end up, for whatever reason, like, is this basically the point of no return on the withdrawal then?
uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll make that adjustment. Lana pointed out that December 21st needs to be changed to December 31st, which she's making on her copy. The one we'll
Which you're
sign.
saying, yes, that's all right.
Okay, I think I'm all right with that. Regardless, it's not reasonable to stay on it.
So I'll make a resolution or make a motion to pass resolution 05 2024, the resolution to withdraw from Southwest Central Fire Territory.
I will second that motion, so sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sounded really bad yesterday. I'll give her a call then tomorrow, fill her in. So 06/2/2024 is, now we are in the business of needing fire trucks. Center Township is taking the pumper in. As part of the dissolution agreement that we're working on, they're going to take the pumper and tanker. Which both have loans on them and et cetera. We will be paid 1/3 of their value at the end, along with everything else, but we have a need to purchase a new pumper and a new tanker. So, and honestly, these things are usually on an 18-month back order. We do have the opportunity to buy one that'll be ready in July, so it's a great opportunity for us. This is just a pumper, we'll still need a tanker. So that's what this resolution is. Special purchases, so Alex drew this one up. You were emailed all of the supporting documentation, the contract, specs, all that kind of good stuff that comes along with the pumper that was designed by the firemen. Steve Downey helped us out with what it is that we need and the adjustments that need to be made to it. Special purchase, these do not go out to bid because they're being bought through, what's the name of it? It's in the resolution. No, what's the name of the organization, the federal organization that vets all these? So what we're going to be doing, we're gonna use whether this will be done a lot, these special purchases, because it's not going to be practical. Typically speaking, it's not practical to try to bid things out like this. So the federal government has an organization, Sourcewell. Things that are, companies that are approved through Sourcewell, that's the federal government who vets these companies, vets their quotes, all that kind of stuff. So because it's through Sourcewell, that allows the board to just make a direct purchase, special purchase. We have a special listing that we listed on our capital assets, which we are now maintaining accurately because we are going to have a lot more assets. If the fire territory were to be approved, the new fire territory will be approved. So all the assets for the fire territory that are purchased through moving forward will be titled to Portage Township. So they would consider Portage Township assets. So that is the sort of work that kind of I was alluding to in my email with Cheryl is the work does increase for our office. It does increase for the board because these are all things now that the board will have to oversee and approve. So that's what this one here is. Also, as you may know or may have forgotten, we actually do not receive a payment for the new territory until July of 2025. So one of the things that Lana and I are going to be working on is being able to fund this territory. We're gonna have to work with Steve on that, probably go through cash reserves. Basically, each of the township is loaning the territory fund money. And we'll talk about that more as we get closer and closer, but we're already basically keeping tabs of actually at some point after the territory is approved, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but just so you guys know, one thing we need to talk about, at some point after the territory is approved, or it's not, we're doing our own fire, we will have to establish a fire fund. We will need to appropriate money into that fund from our funds, from our cash reserves. That is essentially a loan to the fire territory that we will then be paid back once we get levy money that goes into that fund. Warren Township will be asked to do the same thing. They're going to be asked to basically give us money to prime that fund, and then they'll be paid back with that. I hope that makes sense. Why I bring it up here is, the nice thing is companies like this are used to working with municipalities. They understand. So we also are going to enter into a lease purchase agreement with them. That's all part of the deal. And good news is first payment is not even going to be due until July of 2025, almost as if they understand Indiana law. So that is all the documents that, I did print them all out. So that is all the documents that you got in your packet there and you got emailed to you and requires board approval by first of many fire apparatus, but definitely a pumper and a tanker are going to be needed.
So you mentioned Sourcewell. Is that a government program or a government company?
It's an organization.
An organization that is supported and.
By the federal government uses, to source their equipment. Yep. I'd have you reach out to Alex too, if you want like further and further details, because I really didn't dive into the details of it, but very well known to folks who work in municipalities like Alex.
It's number right.
Yeah, mine, I'm on 6 right now, or 6.
Yeah, I was looking at. Oh, I'm looking at the contract, that's why. That is for the pumper.
We have not identified a tanker yet. That's gonna take some more time. So in the meantime, other tankers will be used to support that our station.
Okay, and one of the things that we had talked about was, like, when they had asked about the engines and. What was it? Sometimes they refer to them as engines, sometimes they refer to them as,
Um, command units or,
no, because I said some of the, um. Some of the trucks had better equipment, like medical equipment, right?
oh, yeah, I don't remember I remember that conversation.
Now,
The
it's
responding
annoying.
unit or, I know what you're talking about. That's not, we will probably have to get those as well, yeah.
Well, but that's what I mean, like,
Actually, the next item on the agenda is something like that.
okay. So just as long as we're kind of making sure that's not forgotten, because that's gonna be a big part of the,
We have some equipment. Yeah, I mean, so some stuff is still titled in Portage's name.
So this is ours.
It will be Portage Townships. But it will be technically the territories, because if we were to dissolve the territory, everybody's gonna be contributing towards this. And I probably didn't lead with that. This will be ready in July of this year. So it won't
Yeah,
be
you said
18
that.
months away. Did I say that? Okay. So we'll have it on day one, which is not something that we expected.
Right, let me know what you think.
okay, so our first one is the approval to buy the. Pumper. See any issues, and all motion to accept.
So,
That 15% less discount, is that just kind of a standard thing, or?
I don't know if it's standard. Which one you working on? What, through Sourcewell?
Yeah.
Probably. That's the other qualification for, and we'll talk about that more in the next one, actually, so. But, the other reason that you can do a special purchase, a big reason you can do a special purchase is A, if it's through Sourcewell, and B, it provides substantial savings to the to the township. That's why he mentions that in there. And Alex drew up this one and the next one. Actually, he drew up all of them, except for the
did you
first
make,
one.
you made the motion?
He
Started
did,
to.
yeah. He needs a
Right.
second.
But yeah, motion.
It's
to
failing.
accept.
It's failing.
Resolution 06-2024.
Second.
Right, thank you. Second one, very similar. This is for three, this one's very similar. Will be used for both now township and territory business. This is through Ford. Ford is the only local dealer that has a fleet program, and that is where you get your substantial savings. When you buy vehicles through them, they are on steep discount. We have a fleet ID number now. So it's 3 vehicles here. And they will be used by both the township as well as the territory. Fire chief vehicle will be one of them. And then at the same time, we did not find that there was because everything's gonna be titled in Portage Township's name. Anybody from, I mean, strictly speaking, anybody could go just pick up one of those vehicles, drive it wherever. So we need to have a vehicle use policy. We did not see one in the files anywhere. So we also added that to this.
Which resolution is that?
I'm sorry, we're on to 07-2024. So this is for the special purchase of these SUVs. And outlining what they can be used for, what they can't. I mean, it's pretty, as you can imagine, they can only be used for official business. But staff, and again, more things we'll be talking about in the future. We can talk a little bit about it today. I had it in my email. There's going to be a lot of going back and forth between all of the different fire departments, running around, getting things or whatever. So the vehicles will be also used for that. Either one or two of them, one of them or two of them will be here with the office, or, and then the other will be at the fire station at all times. That might become fluid depending on where staffing is located as we move forward, but that's why the policy exists there. So a mileage log has to be kept. If it's, just to make sure, it's just a state board of accounts requirement, so that if they were to come and audit us, they could say, this is what it was being used for.
You know, on it.
Yeah.
Exactly right, yeah. And then also, and I'll talk about this more a little bit later as well, it will be added, the employee manual will also be updated to include a use policy in it. So that, say, if Lana says, Jamie, I need you to run to the store and grab XYZ, take it out to the fire station. Everybody's covered, it's not just the trustee, not everybody's covered. This includes board members as well. Liability insurance has already been updated, it was actually we did not have to pay anymore. We are covered just as we were if we were driving to work. Interestingly, which I was a bit surprised by. One of these vehicles is, basically two of them are not gonna be ready until like October, because that's how far behind they are on manufacturing. But yeah, I think that's, again, these are the kind of things we're gonna have to be doing now.
Does this affect, since it will, so this is going to be tied to Portage Township, not to the territory.
Get more detailed on the question.
So basically, I'm asking, like, is there a situation where we would have one of these vehicles out for Warren's trustee if needed?
That's reasonable, I mean, no,
Do they have like a office space?
his office is within one of the fire stations,
In the
we'll go
fire
out there and we'll take a look at it, you should, it's real nice, in one of his brand new stations. That's also his township office. Strictly speaking, I don't think if he had an employee of Warren Township, they would not be covered under this policy.
Okay,
This is for Portage Township use or territory use, because they're titled to Portage Township, their territory vehicles, they're gonna be paid for by the territory. I should have led with that as well.
so that also then does not include firefighters.
Firefighters, it does include them, territory, yep.
Interesting, so it includes us, our firefighters, and the territory firefighters.
Warren Township is still its own entity, so
Yeah.
if they had a administrative assistant that needed to go somewhere, strictly speaking, they shouldn't use one of these vehicles. I mean,
Interesting, okay.
because, yeah, this policy only covers Portage Township employees or the territory.
The question,
In fact, once the territory is formed, we should probably pass a territory policy as well.
that's what I was thinking, like, because if it's going to be paid out of the territory, but we're the only ones that benefit from it, that's a little.
Well, benefit, I mean, as a provider unit, that's the work you're doing for the territory.
Yeah.
But it's a good point, yeah, should be addressed by the territory board, which will be formed as of July of this year.
So the territory board though, the territory board is included in this,
Probably not,
so,
titled in Portage Township's name,
okay.
used because we are having to do territory work, right? So one vehicle, certainly like fire chief, battalion chiefs, that sort of thing. If we were all gonna go visit another township, we could go pick one up from the fire station and go drive it down there, no problem. If, I'm not sure, I'm not sure on the other one, we would probably wanna pass a policy through the territory, is what I would say. I'm sure about this, I'm not sure about that.
Discussion.
And I think it makes sense, but we need to have an answer for. Yeah, obviously with the concerns that Portage is controlling where it's not, but that is something you wanna be ready to talk to in case someone's like, why are you getting assets paid out of the territory that we can't, our people don't use, so. But I mean, if we,
It's fair.
is, is Steve also like fire chief out there?
He is
or-
a South Bend EMS fire chief, that's why he is a fire guy, that's why he is very focused, he is going to be the expert when it comes to fire business, because he is a South Bend firefighter chief.
Okay.
But no, he does not work for the Warren Fire Township, or
Yeah,
for a
so
fire
that
department.
actually would be a conflict, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not, he would not actually be an employee of the territory necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But he would be on the board though, because he's a trustee, right?
Correct.
You And him.
Correct.
both have to be on the board.
Correct. I would say he's probably more covered. In your scenario, I think that the Warren Township trustee and board members could use these vehicles as fire territory board members. I guess I was focused on the idea that if they had, say, an assistant who worked in an office somewhere, I'm not sure that individual would be covered because she's working strictly for the township.
Okay.
We're responsible for the territory business. When, oversight, administrative business.
Okay, well, those are,
But you could make an argument that if he sent her on a run to the grocery store, she'd be covered liability wise, and I think what these come down to is, are you gonna care? You, as board members, you as territory board members, are you gonna care that she used it? Probably not. That's what this comes down to. She wouldn't be violating a state law that anybody's gonna come down on them for. It would really just be about, do you accept that as acceptable use? That's really what this comes down to, reasonable and acceptable use.
yeah, but I mean, again, it's good to have the.
No, I think it is. It
conversation.
makes sense.
Someone,
If someone asks, you can tell them, like, yeah, go use
Yeah.
it, I don't care.
so, and I'm fine with it, I will. Oh, actually, there was one last question. Just on the financial side of it, as everything's getting set up, like, right, this is another $150,000. How is that financing structured at this point?
These are not being financed, these are being purchased outright.
Right, but how, when I say finance, I mean, like, where is that coming from?
From the money that we are spending out of our pocket, that will then be reimbursed by the fire territory board, eventually.
So does that come out of which fund does that come out of? then?
We took it out of the fire, the capital improvement bond.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I was.
Okay, yep, which will
Yeah,
be paid back.
I mean, cause I was wondering like, what all can we use that?
It's like, where's this money coming from?
Any capital asset, fire department is included in that, so 100%, yes. We could have bought the fire truck, it's just that would have, we wouldn't have enough for our other things that we have planned for it. This fit the budget that we set up, for potential uses for the capital improvement bond. It's a good question.
Okay, yeah, those are important things to have in the notes. I'll motion to accept this.
I'll second. Resolution 07. Resolution 07/2024 is passed.
So, this one gets a little bit, so we're in a spot a little bit here. We're in the midst of a renovation of our old building, but we're also going to be bringing on additional administrative staff. Once those staff members are on board, we will be pretty close, or we will either be at or close to, depending on how you look at it, capacity for our building on William Street. Okay? Just at or close to capacity. If our operations were to expand anymore, territory operations were to expand anymore, now we gotta find a place to put people, probably not in that building.
Move your office to the safe.
Yes, no, the safe is included. The safe is included, trust me.
Oh, who came in? We're just gonna close this now.
Right, no, the safe remains, the door is being taken off. So, we're in and I've talked to both of you, and I've talked to the board, talked a lot about this, we're in a little bit of a timing situation, which what do we do, So there has been talk of this building, other buildings, do we consider the idea of purchasing more space and doing other things with it, including the need to, have enough room for our offices? So this building here has come up. And Alex would be a better one to really explain the details of the process, but for us to purchase any property, the very first thing you have to do is get 2 appraisals, and what you pay for a building is the average of the 2 appraisals, okay? That's different than, say, the city or county's redevelopment commission. They can pay whatever, they can negotiate directly and pay directly. I mean, when, in any other, as far as I understand it, any other way, you cannot do that. So, talk to this through with Steve Dalton and lawyers, we're at this spot where the thinking here is maybe we just need to start acquiring more information. Not at any sort of decision point, I'm not asking the board to make a decision on this. What the thought was is maybe we need to start acquiring data. And what some of that potential data could be is, if we're going to consider buying this building, could we buy it? Would it appraise for what the owner would even consider? Because it could come in and appraise at something low, and the owner says, no way, I'm not letting it go for that, then that's not an option anymore. So what this resolution is taking that first step to just acquire the data of, is this even a possibility? Because I'm getting to the point where I'm talking about it a lot more, and I don't really know if it's even possible. But some sort of planning is going to need to take place from us, from the board. It could include both the old office and a new location, or it can include a completely new location. We're in a bit of a timing issue on all this. So I asked Alex to draw this up and have the discussion today on, is this a reasonable step to just say, all right, we're gonna go out and just get appraisals and just see? Is this even something that's possible or not possible?
I definitely don't mind getting appraisals. I mean, what's the harm there?
It costs money.
I mean, we got to get an appraisal.
I mean, not tons, but you know, it's money. But again, without actual concrete data, it's just us sitting around going, I wonder, or what if, and you know, we're gonna get to a point where, you know, we don't wanna be in a spot. So that's really what this is about. It's what I'd like the board to consider. If you tabled it and wanted to talk about it more, I've got no super huge objection to that either, but it's one of these things that, in my opinion, it's sort of an issue that's, I don't know, it's not a cloud over us, but it's a near daily conversation
Mhm.
on, oh, you know, boy, what's gonna happen?
We talked before about the owners of this property
Sure.
being looked into, right? Like it's not, because I'm always concerned about, you know, us buying money and people saying, look, they're giving money to whoever, you know.
This comes out of a different fund, but yeah, I get what you're saying. That's the other sort of reason why we're talking about it today is with what's going on in the city.
Right.
Is one of these, they say they're not interested in this building, but their site plan includes this area. I was kind of laughing about it at the time, like, I don't know what to do with that. I've reached out to the city and asked for some answers and haven't really gotten them, so it's one, it's just one of these, do we just start taking steps forward and seeing what happens? We can't even have a conversation with the owner unless we, you know, we have something to have a conversation about, and that's what this would provide us with. If this were to come back, or he would have come back and say, nope, not possible, then it's almost, it's, I don't wanna say it's a relief, but it's a checkbox. It's a box that we can check and say, okay, well, this isn't possible, move on to the next idea. Correct, yes. It's a door we can close. What else is possible? We'll have to look around.
Earnest money deposit agreements. What
We're
is
good.
that?
What are you looking?
Section 5. It's kind of what you are specifically authorized.
The undertaker will deliver on behalf of, blah, 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 may reasonably required by the owners of the property for purchase, including but not limited to earning, I don't really know. Ordering titles and surveys. Board her about to appoint 2 qualified appraisers. Yeah, I guess it's just an extra, you know, that whatever they might require for us to do an appraisal. If they even, I guess in my mind, it's one of those, well, if you're serious about it, put down $5,000 and then we can negotiate. You don't lose the $5,000. There's no action can be taken off the board. Board has all approval on purchasing property. I can't, this resolution would not allow me to purchase this property,
Okay.
if that's helpful.
Yeah, it's just making it seem like what the limits of the action are.
Oh, no. In fact, in the conversation with Alex, literally word for word was, we will include the board as much as possible and as early as possible on this, which is why we're talking about it today. So like I said, we could kick the can down the curb a month, 2 months. It's just one of these, that's where the can is. However, with what the city is doing, I thought it was a good moment to just be like, well, then let's just pounce and just see what the deal is, because but if they kind of responded back, I mean, say in an ideal scenario, if we had the money and if it was going to work out, whatever they're planning around here, the developers, we could be complimentary to that. And that's what I would, like.
What did the city pay? Was it 3.4, 2.4?
325, but it's
Yeah.
for the buildings three to the
Right.
south. and
Yeah,
the
I said your
parking.
message like, is that our building?
Well, I got that a lot
Yeah,
from a lot of people.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, it's because their development plan included it.
Strange, I know, and that's why I just need a straight answer here, because for the same reason, we wouldn't be talking about this today if they came back and said, forget it, we're doing something else with it. Okay, but again, check the box, door closed. Also, in conversations that I've had around the state, we might not be subject to the city's zoning laws, so at the same, so it's in their best interest to wanna have a conversation with us, because we could do something that they don't want, or wouldn't be complimentary here,
Well, it's separate.
We could build a-
body.
industry, yeah, that's what's right, industry tower. There are local ordinances they can put in place, but there's some questions about how enforceable they are. I'm not a lawyer, so these are just the conversations I've heard, which is why this would help maybe spur some conversations.
Do we think Cheryl would want to be a part of that, or would she just be okay?
I think she would definitely want to be a part of it.
She
but
said for us to
like,
move here when she first walked in.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm sure she
indeed.
was joking.
Well, I mean, do you think she'd be worried, want her say before we pass this? I don't really think she.
I don't think she would mind. I mean, we're talking about appraisers. We're not talking
Yeah.
about going out to buy.
It's not usually her thing that she, dives on, but it's fair.
Well, I mean, just because of the city plan and all of that, I think it's reasonable to go early, so I'll motion to approve resolution 08-2024.
I'll second
Thank you.
resolution 08-2024.
That's the to-do list just grew. Okay, you guys got my email about this one, sort of a separate email. We did find the travel policy that was passed under the previous administration. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. I don't think I
Fairly bare bones.
included it in this packet. Yeah, nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't very comprehensive. Again, sort of answering Cheryl's question yesterday, we're going from 8 employees to 58. Policies, territory's gonna have its own policies, but it's not a bad thing we're gonna be having 3 additional staff members in this office. As we grow, I guess basically where I was going with this in my email was, it's very important that we get the foundations correct. If we're going to start to grow, we might be able to expand our operations, these other townships are doing really amazing things that we're not doing here, that they have the ability to do. I'd like us to grow into that, but we need to get these sort of nuts and bolts pieces right. So that's what the travel policy is about. It doesn't change the amounts that were in that previous policy. This just adds a lot more detail on what's possible, what's not. It also requires, so if one of you, if a board member comes and says, hey, there's this conference that I'd really like to come to, it provides a form in there that's okay, you need to estimate what your expenses are gonna be. And if it's over a certain amount, then the board approves that. That's basically what this policy says, so you can't just willy-nilly, go. I think that's the major things. Kept the, daily, meal limit at 75, seemed reasonable.
Now, when you guys went to Indy, did you use the previous travel policy?
On food, yes, but that fell under training, so, and it fell under staff training, so we did follow policy, but not that one in particular.
Yeah.
And it's different than the trustee,
Mhm.
but that was a training, so the ITA conference, we should talk about that as that gets closer in September. A lot of townships, not a lot, but some townships are bringing the whole staff. They say it's the only training opportunity that they get. They close down, and they bring the whole staff, everybody divvies up all the breakout sessions. I think the board should consider, if availability is possible, the board should consider it. But we can talk about that as it gets closer, but very nice to hear other townships were unafraid to sort of find these training opportunities and use them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So this is a pretty comprehensive policy, very similar to what I've seen in the private sector. With this policy though, Mohammed, with this policy, Mohammed, though, I would probably list out in the future, even if it's just training. I would, like the ITA, anything like that, I would probably still provide the board an estimate and ask for review and approval
Yeah.
under this policy. The new one.
We did this at the county.
Similar,
Yeah, it's similar to what we did at. the
I
county.
would add, if I may speak,
Sure.
in addition to then filling out the description, because obviously usually it comes with food, hotel and mileage. That the official state form, mileage form be attached with this too, noted for the,
Oh, yeah. As you can see in there too, if you take a township vehicle, this takes into effect that if you take a township
Yeah.
vehicle, you don't get mileage.
if you get right, yes, please.
That's explicit, it explicitly states that, so you can't,
Thank you.
double dip. Alright.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually never worked anywhere that didn't have that travel.
Some kind of, yeah, policy saying,
Yeah, I mean, that works for me. Kind of got all the spots I was curious about.
oh, there's Cheryl.
Hey,
Hey, Cheryl. She's filling in. Well, let's go ahead. So. Hi, Cheryl.
we're connecting to audio.
Okay. Keep you on the side.
Hey, there she is.
She's on mute. She's on mute.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Oh,
As long as I live, I will always laugh at that clip from COVID with the attorney who couldn't turn off the cat filter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
one of
yeah,
my-
that was
Sorry,
hilarious.
not a cat, Your Honor.
I saw that on the show that I've been watching, court, it's on court, like court TV or something, I was just like, that is brilliant.
I do remember that.
Cheryl, you're on mute. Can you unmute?
The microphone.
All right, this is our last order of business for voting.
Mhm. So our next meeting with the fire territory is the 28th.
Well, let's finish this.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Township
No,
policy.
no, well, yeah, let's finish.
Off mute.
Hello?
Cheryl, you there?
Yeah, finally, took me forever to get in.
Yeah, all right, sorry.
It's my side, not yours.
Okay.
We were just getting ready to, motion to vote, to pass the travel resolution. Did you have a chance to look at it?
Okay,
It's just a fairly comprehensive travel policy for the township for reimbursements and restrictions and that kind of thing. I mean, I'll motion to accept the resolution if there's no,
I'll second you. Cheryl, do you have any comments on the, resolution 09-2024?
uh,
All in favor?
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed?
All right, no old business. Budget and assistant numbers through February, you have. Nothing really jumps out at me to talk about, except our, we've been busy, busier than we were, last year. A little surprisingly. We did make our payment to La Casa for their utility assistance, so that's reflected in the budget. Let's see here, short month, so it's interesting, we serviced, oh no, February is about the same, but January was very busy. So, our numbers were about the same this February as last February, but our total assistance was down a little bit. But the moratorium has ended,
Mhm.
so today we had a full. It's a concern, we had a full lobby most of the day today, so the moratorium has ended, we are in business,
moratorium on,
utility shut off.
Utility shut off, a lot of people have had their utility shut off.
And unfortunately, they come in and they haven't paid towards their bill because moratorium. So, they've got big bills. Yeah. Any questions on that?
No.
So facilities, we are still pending asbestos removal. We cannot put our construction bids out until this asbestos removal has been done. So we did have a contractor come in. We're waiting on getting their report. So it's moving along, but that's what we're waiting for. We were targeting an April bidding process, which it might still be, April or May. So we are on track, but certainly not ahead of schedule. Proposed fire territory, as we've been talking about, the timeline is, our final vote is next week, next Thursday, 6 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock is the adoption meeting. The last public hearing is 6 o'clock, the adoption meeting is 7 o'clock. So that will then, the fire territory board will be formed that July. And the fire territory takes effect in January. However, there's a lot of things that are going on, in preparation of that. We've got to be able to provide information so that we can start recruiting firefighters. So medical insurance, something that we're working on, getting folks on medical insurance, that kind of thing, and staffing. We can't, that's the awkward position we're in. We're gonna have to start bringing these staff on board ahead of January so that they're ready to go come January 1st. So throughout this summer, you're gonna see us putting together job descriptions, sending them over to you guys, getting them out, then all the places that we've been doing to try to get people to apply for these positions. You got my email that kind of showed the org chart on what that will look like and how that labor will be divided. So basically, we're gonna have a township assistant side, and then we're gonna have an everything else side. Erin Dombrowski, our senior caseworker, has agreed to take on additional responsibilities. So she is considered the manager of township assistants now. So basically, all those folks are rather than them going direct to Alana with whatever their town questions, issues are as they come up on a daily basis. Now they're starting to go to Erin, freeing up Lana's time, which is what's going to be needed to start moving here into the future. So that is going to be the consequence of the fire territory, along with figuring out the money piece and purchasing equipment. Is the other more noticeable thing is going to be the staffing side. Cedar Glen update. I don't have an update. Oh, go ahead, Cheryl.
I think she was blowing her.
Oh, okay. But as a part of that, I am going to request a salary resolution amendment to make sure that the salaries for these individuals is included. And to again put on your radar that for 2025, the fire department's territory, the fire department's salaries will probably be in our ordinance or our resolution as well. I've seen other places do it. I'm not sure they have to be, but I think it just makes sense. So you will see an amendment in the coming months that has those staff positions in it for the maximum salaries that we can pay. As we're going to bring on those administrative staff. And then in 2025, that will also include the firefighters themselves. Yeah.
Which we pretty much already know what their salaries will be.
Correct. Yes, exactly as they've been publicized. Yeah. The other thing on the staffing side is we are interviewing right now a few people who are interested in some part-time work. As you know, we get extraordinarily busy in the summer. We have a lot of people, a lot of time off that they have to take, and we end up shorthanded often of the time. So we are going to make available. We have a position in the budget right now that's a part-time budget, and so we are going to start interviewing and looking for folks. So we created basically an intake clerk job description that's just now part-time.
Is that the one that you sent?
No, I sent you the program coordinator one. We basically took our intake clerk job description that you've seen already and just kind of designated it as part-time. And we're also sending that around, asking for people to apply. So college students, folks that are home for the summer, maybe these kind of things that, would be looking for essentially a 10 to 3 Monday through Thursday sort of job to make sure that we're covered during the busy times, lunches, that kind of thing. So, that's the other thing on the staffing side that we're looking at. And that's what they'll be doing, front desk.
And I still think it's important to try to hire from the group of people that you're serving.
It isn't hard,
I
yeah.
mean,
If we can find one, find some, yeah, get people to apply. Absolutely.
so, like how, I mean, I think you could share that information with La Casa, YWCA.
They got it.
Send it over to Gladys and the other, community centers as well.
Yeah, I've got a social services mail serve that got it all, yeah. Yeah, the problem is a lot of those places, they don't want to give up their people. I found, there is a lot of competition for people, interestingly. So, yep, they've all gotten it. Same with the program coordinator position. Before it went online, that's who got it first, actually, after the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we could also send it to the 21st century scholars. When we're talking about college students and possibly ones that families technically might fall in our guidelines. So we could contact 21st century scholars.
No,
with
that's a
the
great
job
idea, Cheryl. And
description.
I'll get you guys that part-time one, but like I said in my email, I encourage you to forward it. I mean, whatever contacts you have, forward it on. And I did have people tell me that they did that, which was nice.
Have you created internship postings?
No, actually, I do have an update on that, though. We have a meeting with Leonard Sanchez with St. Mary's. He is a professor of social work at St. Mary's College, and he is interested in putting together an internship program with us, actually. So kind of we're excited about what he envisions that for. It's not going to be the same as like a part-time worker.
Right.
And so I see these people are probably going to be more of shadowing. But we'll see. We'll see what Leonard has to say. I mean, these are undergrads in social work. So they're not really experienced or looking for, work per se, but they're looking for experience and stuff. So I'll be interested in what he has to say about how I see that going, as they'd be interested in basically sitting in with the caseworkers as they're doing the casework staff, because that would be the more interesting thing to them.
I mean, that's what they
Dealing with
do
the
with
people.
student teachers. We're student teachers.
Yeah.
you know.
And often when you have interns, you can bring them on to do special projects, right? Like data collation. And this is going back to, that's been my thing for ages, is making sure we have all of that information on who's coming through, how much their incomes are, the division by race and geography in the area. And those are things that you could also do with that. That would be very interesting, and not just for social workers, data interns, right?
Mhm.
You know, so do you see them working with the caseworkers and all to learn how to interview people?
Yes, that's what I imagine they're going to be interested in doing. The social work students. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have one at distance. We have two, and they are very helpful.
Good. Good.
Well, I know for IU, like you have to go through Handshake to post those. So you just, it would be reasonable to like talk to their social work department and whoever else, but just so they can promote them, but you can go through and just post those kind of positions on there. And that's pretty easy. And again, IU is probably closer to our people that we want to be cultivating talent around here, whereas St. Mary's people are likely going to leave. And Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, maybe. They just have a big social work program at St. Mary's.
Well, I mean, if you've got the professor, the program lead buying in, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
But I don't want other schools to be forgotten.
For sure. Yeah. So Cedar Glen then update is, I don't have anything specific to share there. Except that we are anticipating some sort of response from them. Alex is hopeful that they're negotiating with, basically Alex is being kept in the loop as they negotiate now with the Attorney General, but the Attorney General is asking for all the things that we're asking for, and they're keeping Alex in the loop. So he's very, he feels very good about it, that there's going to be some sort of resolution for those folks. Weather's gotten better, so it's less of a crisis now for those folks, but making sure that it doesn't happen again in the future is really what's important. So just kind of continuing to work with the South Bend Tenants
This
Association.
is Indiana, all weather.
True that. No, but it's funny, like,
Until summer.
Until 90 degrees, you know what I'm saying?
well, there's no obligation to provide air conditioning, unfortunately. It's really the heat and hot water. That's specifically spelled out in code, but I note it because the phone calls have trickled down to, very few now. But anyway, we're still continuing to chase it.
Oh,
And it's one of my, it's one of my favorite things, so I'm hoping that we're able to get a positive resolution. Go ahead, Cheryl.
one of the things that was interesting is I got 2 calls from people and who I know, right? And it was about heat. Now they have heat. Their problem is it's one of those where it's an apartment, a house turned into an apartment, and one landlord, no, one tenant controls the heat, and they've been turning it way down at night. But I thought that was interesting that they saw the word Portage Township, and then they called me. Well, I basically found out what you all know. Is there's nothing in Indiana code that specifically says what a temperature has to be. It just says,
Yeah.
yeah. So but what I did do is I told him to get a thermometer and record what the temperature is. And then I sent him a whole bunch of things from the federal government and everything else talking about what temperature should be, like in public housing and things like that. But I just thought it was interesting. They saw Portage Township and they called me.
Yeah, that is great, Cheryl. I'd call that a win.
Yeah, like I said, 2 people called me.
Well, we'll keep at it. I'll keep you guys updated. Health First Grant, you guys all saw Robin Vita's leaving the county. She was our contact, so we're supposed to, we just ran into her today at La Casa. She said that her replacement is gonna be reaching out to us to have a meeting with us next week, but, as you see, we're moving ahead, hiring the program coordinator to get that ball rolling, so, hoping to get that, that's priority number 1 is getting that person in the door so that we can get that going. It's a reimbursable grant. So we're not out anything, at the moment. And then the last thing is there's just to put it on your radar, it's not something that requires board approval, but I like to present it to the board anyway, which is the employee manual. There's gonna be several updates made to that. The travel policy will be added in there, like a blurb about it, and then a reference to the actual policy. And then the vehicle use policy, same thing, a blurb about it, and then sort of a reference. And then like fitness. So now that the fitness room is like 95% complete, it's getting a lot of use, but we're gonna add, fitness room policy. What else, Lana?
Wait, what business? What?
To show you.
Did you know about this?
I didn't.
Well, the new office has it, but we went ahead and just got the equipment and we have it in here. The new office will have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep, they had it in their design.
Yeah.
So, and then with the fire department needed an upgrade in their fitness equipment, so we bought new equipment for the fire department as well. All part of the capital bond budget that we had budgeted for, but that's pretty peanuts comparatively. We have other things we were gonna add in there. I don't remember what it is.
All right, so.
You'll get it though.
I know you gotta be somewhere, so is there any more discussion? Are we going on? Cheryl, you good?
Yep, good.
All right, I'm gonna call to adjourn, a few minutes early.
I'll second.
All right, Cheryl, you feel better?
Yes.
All right, we'll see you soon.